The Final Fantasy VII Remake just got a new trailer, and let's talk about it. I am absolutely blown away by everything I'm seeing from the Final Fantasy VII Remake so far. And I think kind of as we get older, it becomes a little bit harder for game trailers to impress us so far, because we've played so many and we've seen the tricks and stuff like that. But I can safely say I have not anticipated a game on this level since, God, even past like Breath of the Wild. I'm so giddy for this game, and this new trailer, good Lord, it was probably the best one so far, and that's really saying something. Obviously this video won't have like a ton of substance to it. It's mostly just going to be fangirling, but hey, well, let's do it, right? Let's celebrate everything that this game seems like it's going to be. I mean, there's like different kind of remakes, right? And to my mind, the best remake kind of takes the original and gives it new life that it couldn't have possibly had when it was at the time. And I think this is probably, so far from what I'm seeing, the absolute pinnacle of this example. Final Fantasy VII, personally, I've played it. I've only played it once. It is probably like my second or third favorite Final Fantasy behind Final Fantasy X and Shadowbringers, probably. And I've always liked it. I've always thought it was, really, really solid, really, really solidly well-made game. For me, it was always kind of more like things like the atmosphere and the music and the gameplay, which is super great. The story, I think, is good, but it's not like mind-blowingly good or anything. And I think part of the reason is because it was limited a lot at the time by what games could be at the time. Especially things like tech and, localization, which kind of resulted in like some awkward, dialogue and just like not quite bringing it to life the way that you envision the creators really wanted to, stuff like that. And 7 is like them doing that, but then going even further, and not like in a bad way. Like everything I'm seeing so far, in my opinion, is like it in no way is jeopardizing the original while also completely improving upon it. It looks so good, so high end, so kind of like different, but at the same time, I think the amazing thing about it is, despite all of this ambition and how amazing it looks, it still feels like Final Fantasy VII. You know what I mean? It doesn't. You can sense it. Things like the lighting and the music and some of the voices they're choosing. Like today, they showed off Red 13, who's my favorite character, and his voice is so perfect. And you got things like they're showing the cross-dressing scene, and it looks like it's going to be like really well done and really respectful, and probably even better than the original. And it looks so good. The production value, everything about this, and honestly, that's what I can say. Like even if I like some of the other Final Fantasy worlds more, even if I like some other games more, I just think it's so beautiful how this remake seems to just be so spiritually Final Fantasy VII. If you played the game, you'll probably know what I mean, while also just like taking it into the stratosphere. It is, I can't imagine what like just absolute like diehard Final Fantasy VII fans who live and die by the game like must be feeling. I can't imagine there are many people disappointed by this. I have friends who are even more critical than me, and like, it takes more for them to be impressed, and even they're like, yeah, no, this looks good. Friends who hated the original Final Fantasy VII, and they're like, yeah, wow. I mean, it's almost like a is this too good to be true kind of moment, but it doesn't seem like it is, Everything about this is like they're putting their heart and soul into this. There's nothing whatsoever that's soulless about this. Now, obviously, budget is like an issue, but good Lord, video game developers, this is how you do it. Like, this is how you do it, and then some, right? I mean, I could sit here gushing and gushing and gushing and talk about how, like, I'm gonna lock myself away when it comes out and just play it endlessly with no internet reaction, which is something I actually kind of thought of recently. I was like, I think lately kind of things like critic reviews and other views of games on social media when they come out have kind of affected my opinion a little bit. And I'm like, I really want to just really, really feel for this just objectively and really kind of, you know what I mean? Like, I want to just take myself away from all that, just sit down, play a game like the old days when there weren't so many distractions, and just enthrall myself in this. I did it with Breath of the Wild, and that worked quite well, and we'll see how it goes. I do kind of want to touch a little bit maybe on some of my personal hopes for the game and see if maybe it opens up some interesting conversations. Like, I think Final Fantasy VII is a game that at its time couldn't quite fully meet its potential because of what games were at the time. And I'm really hoping that this remake, if anything, beefs up things like characterization and plots and stuff like that. Like, I hope we get to see even more sides of these characters. Above all, I hope we get to see characters interacting more that couldn't interact as much the first time, emphasize their weaknesses, their strengths, really, really kind of make us feel for these characters more than ever. And while there are moments that are great in the original 7, I do still have, I know this will be controversial, but I do still have some, like, takes that probably many don't agree with. Like, I personally, like, the big moment with Aerith that we all know probably at this point. Like, I remember when I first saw it, I was like, oh, okay, that was okay, like, but I wasn't, like, too affected by it. And then you've got this, where, like, even by the trailers, right, I'm already so in love with her character, and knowing what's coming, I'm like already crying. I'm like, I'm not gonna be able to do this. Like, oh my god, like, it's just, it really, really is impressive so far. Like, I'm so already loving her character and already seeing so much more to her that I just know that, you know what I mean. Or you got characters like, I personally don't think Sephiroth is the most interesting villain. I never did. I thought he was kind of flat and uninteresting in the original. And then I'm like, you're already kind of seeing hints that he's probably going to be so much better. And I think that'll be kind of how I judge whether or not they really succeeded in that regard. Maybe not entirely, but like, I'll be interested to see. I'll be like, okay, if I come away from this like thinking like, no, Sephiroth was actually really felt like an imposing and like interesting villain this time around, then wow, they will have nailed it more than I could have ever imagined, right? And just, other things like just more plot details and just really just beef up this narrative and these characters and just bring them to life in a way that never could have been done before, because they're so... They have such a great foundation in the original 7, and if they run with it, which I think they're going to, I'm so excited, and I'll be interested to hear takes from anyone who isn't like as impressed. Like, if anyone's like, I got my worries and stuff, as long as they're constructive and everything, I'm always interested to hear that. So if you do feel that way, let me know. I personally am like just thinking like, there's almost nothing I'm not liking here at all. It's just, it looks so goddamn good. You got to remember things too, like the combat system is developed by the guy who did the Kingdom Hearts 2 combat system, which is like one of the best in action JRPG history. It's like all these things, like it's just going to be this, hopefully this perfect marriage. I guess we'll see. I'm so excited. I know it got delayed, but I'm definitely going to talk about it more as we go forward. So just kind of wanted to establish my hype for it. Kind of just talk about how like this is definitely a topic I'm interested in that I'll be talking about, and I'd love to talk about it with other people about it and see what they think, because it's going to be incredible to my mind. But thank you so much for watching this quick video. I just wanted to really quickly make it and get it out there. And thank you so much for the support lately. I've been loving making these videos. They're comfortable to make. They're easier with my really tight schedule. And yeah, if you did, subscribe if you want. Ring Lean's bell. That's right. I'm actually gonna make that a thing, and we'll see where that goes. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.